Hello everyone. Welcome back to my chat corner, Fireflies with Anaura. Fireflies, these are the people who have a spark in them. They glow and stand out amongst us. We are well into the monsoons now, an apt time to welcome our guest for today, the Zen Rainman, Mr. Vishwanath S., who is a proponent of the Million Wells project and a champion of water conservation. Please join us as we dive deep into this well of information that he's going to provide. Welcome to my chat corner.
My pleasure.
Before we get well into the water talk, why the name Zen Rainman?
Purely a question of getting an email ID.
Okay.
All the Vishwanaths of the world were taken from 1 to a million. So I had to invent a name, and because I practice the Zen philosophy, and Rainman is a movie that I like, which is the Dustin Hoffman starrer. So I put those two together. Okay. Got myself an email ID. That's become sort of my Twitter handle, Instagram handle, and so on.
All right. So the Zen philosophy, it's quite interesting. Many of us don't know much about it.
It comes from the word dhyana, which is Sanskrit. So it's gone to Japan and become Zen. So it's just a philosophy of managing stress, being calm, being patient. And that's what one tries to practice.
Yeah, I've heard about Zen gardens, which all are made out of sand, and a Buddha has to be included and all that. So I can get it. So
it's to stay peaceful and calm. That's the whole idea.
All right, that's wonderful. So why this transition from, what made you, get into this transition from being a civil engineer to specialist, a champion of water conservation?
It's a gradual journey. It's a journey of chance. Civil engineering teaches you many aspects of water, including hydrology, and we had a good professor who taught us well. And when I did urban and regional planning, I also got to study water at a regional scale. Then I started to work for a Government of India company called the Housing and Urban Development Corporation, where my job entailed me to go to many towns and villages all across South India. And one of the things one saw was that the crisis of water was there then. I'm talking about the 1980s, late 1980s.
Yeah.
And though the government was doing something, but it looked like that it required the community also to participate in the solution. So when I left HUDCO, I started to involve myself with communities and local governments to try and see whether water problems could be sorted out.
Achha, you had a team with you, or you started off alone?
I started off alone.
Oh, that's fun.
I started off alone.
So this idea about a million wells, did you surprise your people did you just dive into this?
It's not a surprise. Let me give you the background behind the million wells. So India's been a groundwater civilization. We've had wells since the days of the Indus Valley civilization. Even in Keeladi in Tamil Nadu, we have wells. So the history of the well is 5,000 years old, at least in the Indian subcontinent. We are the world's largest user of groundwater. Two other countries which follow us, China and the USA together, don't use as much groundwater as India does. We use something like 250 cubic kilometers of groundwater annually. We may have something like 33 to 40 million wells and bore wells. India is a groundwater civilization. In Bangalore alone, there are more than 5 lakh bore wells. What happened by serendipity was I was at a traffic signal on my motorcycle, and a gentleman tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Do you want a well in your home?" I couldn't believe my ears, because this is the first time I ever heard of anybody wanting a well, right? So I called Muniappa over. I stopped at the traffic light, said, "Please come out to my home." I gave him my address. He landed up on a Sunday, and he explained to me what he did. Muniappa is from the Manvadar community, or the Bovi community. This community, as I researched later, dug all the wells and tanks that we have. The Keres, Kuntes and Bavis of South India have all been done by this particular community, and also in North India. And what Muniappa would do, along with his relatives and friends, was to go from house to house where his father and grandfather had dug wells, in the month of April especially, and ask the household whether the well needed cleaning. Then his team would go down, remove the water, remove the silt, disinfect it with alum, potassium permanganate and bleaching powder, and make sure that the well was usable. This was a job Muniappa was doing. But with the advent of the bore well, the wells had lost relevance and they were struggling for a job. So the idea was to see whether Muniappa could contribute to society and his community could contribute to society and solve the water problem that Bangalore was facing. And so the idea was that they dig recharge wells Traditionally, they dug wells which gave water. Now they would dig wells which would take the rooftop rainwater, filter it, and push it into the aquifer, thereby recharging and replenishing the aquifer. That started the movement of the million wells. And the whole idea was to give the community of the Manwarders a livelihood and a job opportunity. And through that job opportunity, sought the Bangalore's water shortage problem. That's the story of the million wells.
So you give credit to these well diggers, the small communities. Can you share some story with us where?
So one of the things I've learned is you can get a lot done if you don't take credit. Typically, individuals tend to blow their ego up by wanting to claim that they are the solvers of a million problems. For me and for people in my group called Biome, what we want to do is to understand what communities need and what their contribution to the solution is. And our job is to empower them to find the solutions. I have not launched the Million Wells program. It's the well digging community which has launched the Million Wells movement, right? And so there's no fixed goal to that. They'll keep on digging recharge wells as long as people want it. And they'll continue to replenish the groundwater as long as people want it and they get a job. The stories are like this. With the kind of well digging they do, they're able to earn a decent income and educate their children. The children then decide whether they want to continue to do well digging or not. A lot of them choose not to, and that's a very welcome thing to do because it's very hard work and it's drudgery. But the children get a chance to get to college, become a doctor, become an engineer. One of them has even gone to the United States. This is a bigger success than the million wells themselves. That families have been able to achieve their education of their children and leap up the economic ladder. That's a greatly satisfying part of my work.
Okay, so it's only you who's doing this, or do you have?
No. I don't do anything at all. All I did was to let the community of Bangalore citizens know that there's a community called Manwarders. I had another role. I sat on the building bylaw and policy committee of the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. So we were able to frame a law which said that rainwater harvesting is mandatory for every home in Bangalore. And as part of the rainwater harvesting, they have to dig this recharge well. So the law now pushes people to dig recharge wells. The Munyappas of the world, Ramakrishnas, Shankars of the world, do the job of digging the well, make some money, and the city is insulated to that extent from flooding and water shortage, right? So tie policy, bylaw, and livelihoods and find solutions. I don't do anything at all. I just facilitate communication and talk about the Million Wells program. People get in touch with the well diggers to the well.
Yes. So these recharge wells are just empty spaces where water fills, rainwater
So a
fills.
recharge well is typically 3 feet in diameter, sometimes 4 feet in diameter. It goes about 20 feet deep, sometimes 30 feet deep. It's lined with precast concrete rings. It's got a safety grill on top and sometimes a concrete slab on top. It takes all the rainwater from a rooftop of roughly about 200 square meters. In an annual year of rainfall, it puts in 2 lakh liters into the aquifer, one recharge well. Now you can imagine what a million recharge wells can do, right? 2 lakh million liters of water can go into the ground. What the recharge well also does is, if it recharges enough and the aquifer conditions are good, it also becomes a withdrawal well. You can start to use the water too. First, you do good to the community by putting water in. If your punya is good and your aquifer is good, you'll get the water and you can use the water.
Use in the sense it's for drinking and cooking?
It depends on the aquifer, and some of the people here, even in the community that we are in, use it for all purposes, including drinking and cooking. Maybe sometimes you have to pass it through a filter to improve the bacterial quality, but this is soft water. It does good for your hair.
Oh, that's wonderful. Actually, my father used to say, like when he took the plot here in Vidyaranapura and built a house, he's left a lot of land all
Right.
around, and the center, the house is built in the center, and he would never agree that when we asked him to cement the whole thing, because he said all the water the groundwater will recharge my own well. Is that true? Does it
Absolutely.
all?
He's a wise
We have a
person.
well, so
That's wonderful. You have a well, and the well has water, I presume, and it's next to a lake.
yeah.
So therefore, there's a greater chance of the water. Your father was a wise man. This is what we need in Bangalore. We don't have to pave every square centimeter of our city. We need to leave space for nature and for soil to allow water to percolate into the aquifer, for some greenery to occur. We are in an era of climate change, right? And climate change means that we have higher temperatures, higher intensity of rainfall, higher humidity. All this can be combated if we allow nature to play part of the solution making, right? So your father did a wise thing by digging a well. He did a wise thing by allowing water to percolate into the soil. I
Okay.
hope you continue that practice and your children do so too.
We still have the well. We
Good.
haven't done anything with it.
There are more than 800 wells in Vidyaranipura alone.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's amazing.
When the colony was first built, all the water supply to this colony came from three major wells, one near the State Bank of India, one near HMT, one in the current BWSSP office. Those three large wells, which were meant for mango irrigation, actually gave water to many of the households and their own wells.
Yes, sir. So you told us a lot about the wells, the Million Wells project. What is your work with the lake restoration or lake revival?
So let me again give you a quick background. The city has many taps to get water to itself. One of them is from the river Kaveri, which is far away. It comes from a dam. The second tap is rainwater. Rain that falls on our head can be put to productive use. The third tap are the wells or groundwater. The fourth tap is the lakes, right? Surface water. The fifth tap is treated wastewater. Water which goes from our house to sewage treatment plants and gets treated and then can be reused, right? So our city has five taps and a tap control, which is demand management. That is to say that we need to use water wisely and to price water so that people don't waste it, right? So five taps and one tap control. Of this, lake is a very important tap because lakes hold on to flood waters, can recharge the ground and can become available as groundwater. Lakes can also receive treated wastewater and be full throughout the year. So my effort was in this direction of what's called integrated urban water management to bring all the five taps into play to make Bangalore water secure. One of the first lakes that we worked on with an exciting community called Jal Poshan, led by Dr. Annapurna Kamath and others, was to try and clean up Jakkur Lake and make it ready to receive treated wastewater from the Jakkur sewage treatment plant. I was lucky to know the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board engineers who cooperated very well and made sure that the plant ran very well. So actually, if you go to the Jakkur sewage treatment plant, you can drink the water from the treatment plant. It's that good, the treatment, right? That water is then led into the lake, and the lake is always full. And the lake has attracted pelicans, painted storks, and various birds from migratory spaces all across. Plus, it provides livelihood to fishermen who fish there, and the fish then is food for the painted storks and the pelicans. And it recharges the groundwater. Jakkur Lake puts in 7 million liters into the ground every day. So that 7 million liter fills the wells and the bore wells. That water is used by the community to satisfy their water needs. So that's a model which has become quite prominent all across India, the model of integrated urban water management, thanks to the efforts of the institutions and the people and the BBMP, BDA, who are all institutions involved. That is the model we need to follow across all our urban areas. If we make sure that we use rainwater wisely, if we protect our lakes and wetlands, if we recharge our groundwater, and if we use treated wastewater wisely, there should be no water shortage at all in any urban area.
Okay. Are you? Is this only about Bangalore or all over India? Have you done?
No, so it's not a question of me doing, right? So what we have worked on from Biome has led to it being absorbed by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. For example, the Million Wells program has been taken as something called the Shallow Aquifer Management Program by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. And it was rolled out in 9 cities and towns across India. Based on the pilot, now it's rolled out across 75 towns and cities in India. So I play the role of an advisor. I played the role of an advisor before. I play the role of a mentor now, just to sort of guiding the process. What we do is not to think of ourselves doing a million projects, but to become examples and allow others to do it based on the local context and the local resource. We only guide.
All right. So this is what you do at Biome. What do you actually do there?
So Biome is two companies. Biome Solutions works on ecological architecture. It works with mud building or earth construction. That's led by Chitra Vishwanath, and it's got a nice team there with Sharad Nayak, Anurag, and others. It's a big team. There's the other part of the Biome group, which is the Biome Trust. I work with the Biome Trust. My colleagues all work on water issues. We try to work with communities, local governments, and gram panchayats to address specific challenges that they have with water and to find solutions to them. That's Biome Trust's work.
Yeah, the way the city of Bangalore is growing vertically, uh, uh, are they going to? Is it easy to supply water to all these people?
So there's no shortage of water as a resource. Like I tell you, we're getting 2,250 million liters from the Kaveri. We get 3,000 million liters per day as rainwater. We have 800 million liters per day from groundwater. Our treated wastewater is 2,500 million liters per day. If you add it all up together, you can actually support a population of 40 million to 50 million in Bangalore. There's no shortage of water as a resource. What's a shortage is our goals and dreams and ambitions. If we think that we can work around all these 5 taps that I told you and invest wisely, then we will not have a shortage. But as part of the investment, there's also to be a pricing of water. Because if citizens get water at very subsidized rates, there's a tendency to waste it. Plus, the institution which is supposed to manage it does not have the money to invest in wastewater treatment plants, in sewerage networks, in recycling water, right? So we need to build a robust model whereby water is a human right, so everybody gets it free of cost, a certain amount. But beyond a certain amount, if you have to wash your car, fill your swimming pool, water your garden, you pay the true price for water so that the institution which is supplying you that water can continue to do so, can continue to extend the network, can continue to collect sewage, treat it, and release it into the environment.
All right. I've heard about polluted lakes in Bangalore, somewhere around maybe Bellandur, Vartur, and we've even seen that kind of white foam.
Yes. But that white foam comes from the detergents we use in our homes. All our washing machines, all the shampoos that we put on our head has phosphates and surfactants, and when they end up in the lakes, they tend to foam, right? So we are the part of the problem. What we need to do is, therefore, like I said, make sure that the institution is capable of collecting every drop of sewage from each one of our homes, treat it in the sewage treatment plant before it's released to nature, right? And for that, the BWSSB has to have enough monies to be able to do it. So we must realize that we are part of the problem and we should try to become part of the solution.
Little more on rainwater harvesting. Can you just educate?
So Bangalore has a very evenly distributed rainfall pattern. We get rain in 8 months of the year. We get, on an average, roughly 1,000 millimeters a year. It's been good rains over the last 5-6 years. What we need to do is to design our rooftops to be clean, right? Now, they should not be covered with leaves or dirt and dust. Now, if the roof is clean and the catchment is clean, the runoff that comes from a small 100 square meter roof is 1 lakh liters. 1 lakh liters of pure water, we are putting it into the drain. The idea is, can we use it wisely? What you do is to collect it from down pipes, pipes which bring the water down from the roof, and put in a filter. You get filters in the market, or you can make one of your own using sand and charcoal and gravel. Once you filter the water, this is really good quality water. You can then either store it in a sump tank, or you can put it into a recharge well. You dig a well and you put it into the well. Or you can do a combination of both. Store some of the water, put some into the recharge well. If you do that, 2 things you achieve. One, the flooding in your neighborhood is dampened to the extent of 60 millimeters of rain per day. That is the law. The law says that for every square meter of roof area, you have to create 60 liters of storage or recharge. And for every square meter of paved area, you have to create 30 liters of storage or recharge. So collect the roof water, filter it, store it in a sump, or recharge into a well. That's all rainwater harvesting is. It's simple, especially when you're building a new home. If you incorporate it as part of the design, it won't even cost you more than 20,000 rupees. Because you already have a sump, you already have a roof, you already have downpipes. All that you need is the filter, a pipe to connect it to the sump tank, right? So if more and more citizens do rainwater harvesting, roughly about 210,000 sites are doing rainwater harvesting. Many gated communities are doing rainwater harvesting. If more and more people do it, then Bangalore's water problem will be sorted out.
Yeah, I believe good that it's been made mandatory,
Yes.
and they come for a check and they want to know if we've done it. So that's really nice, a nice step that they have taken. Do you have any, maybe one myth busting fact about India's water crisis? What would you like to say?
That there's a water shortage. There's no water shortage in India. There's bad governance and mismanagement. If we manage our water efforts with community help as a local resource, we may have our ups and downs of years of drought and years of floods, but overall there will be no water shortage for life and livelihoods. It's a question of allowing ownership at the local community level. Water is often treated as a state resource or a private resource, but it's actually something called a common pool resource. It belongs to the community, right? So we need to create this community ownership of water and make sure that water is not polluted and that it's equally distributed. If we do that, there's no scarcity of water at all.
All right. Which is your favorite project? I mean, you're so proud of.
Every one of my projects I'm proud of.
Mm.
There are small things like making a roof water tank for a village called Kuruburkunte near Devanhalli, where once the tank was full at 11:30 in the night, the lady of the house called up and said she had tears in her eyes, saying that my tank is overflowing. And I wish I'd built a larger tank because now there's water at my doorstep. Otherwise, I had to walk 1.5 kilometers to get water. That's a small project. There are farmers in Kolar, in Mulbagal, who give me a bag of rice and say, we've grown 3 crops this year.
Okay.
3 crops of rice. Never in the history of the village itself have 3 crops of rice been grown because the tank was desilted and it was connected to the catchment, and so the tank was full of water. So they were able to grow 3 crops of rice. So there's no such thing as a bad project. Even a little drop counts, and it gives you great joy when people express happiness at what they have sorted out for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Sir, there is some particular rice grown in Tamil Nadu. I believe which takes up a lot of water.
No, there's a myth to say that what rice takes up a lot of water. It's not true in all conditions. What you should do is to grow rice where it deserves to be grown, right? Rice is grown in the Kaveri Delta, rice is grown in the downstream of lakes. Rice should not be grown with groundwater. Rice is not meant to be grown with groundwater. But if you grow it at the right place and the right variety, then it doesn't require much water at all. So we shouldn't just be saying that all rice is bad.
All right. And how about these coconut tree, the plantations? Do they take up a lot of?
They take up a lot of water because it's a monoculture and coconuts require a lot of water. Coconuts are essentially coastal trees, right? We brought them inland and we now try to harvest it in Tipru, Tumkur, and other places. They could take up to 200 to 250 liters of water a day. Whereas we make the eucalyptus a villain, the coconut, unfortunately, it's also a villain if it's in the wrong place, right? We must understand that and deal with it and grow coconut in the right places.
How about here in Bangalore? We have two or three houses. I mean,
No,
trees
in
per
Bangalore, it's
house.
fine because you will get 1,000 millimeters of rainfall. So for Bangalore, coconut is a natural plant. It's not really. Every house used to have two coconut
Yeah.
trees. Yeah.
All right.
Life I studied along this one river called Rishabhavati, which goes into Gurdi. And it's so fascinating for me back then that within the city we have
A
a river
river.
flowing.
Correct. It looks
But this
like a
river is so polluted, there's so much smell that comes out of it and it goes and drains
sewage.
into some lake. Does this water also goes into the ground? That's
Yeah,
also
it does. See, we will clean up our rivers when we pay the true price for water. And I keep repeating it. The true price of water is when we return it back to nature at the same quantity and quality at which we took it. If I take 100 liters from the Kaveri, I use it in my house. In an urban context, water is not evaporated, right? I have a bath, I wash the dishes, I flush the loo, I do the dishes in the sink and all that, right? So all of it comes back as wastewater or used water. Now, in all other European cities or developed world cities, all the wastewater is collected, taken to the sewage treatment plant, and treated so well that it's as good as drinking water in some cases, and then released to nature, for which it takes money. So there's no shortage of water as a resource. We got to figure out how to manage water better and govern it better. See, one of the things why are people coming to Bangalore? Even now, with all the mess, there's still people who are coming to Bangalore because this gives you employment, it gives you education, it gives you opportunities to socialize and to develop your intellect, to run entrepreneurships, to run business. It's a city that is can-do city, right? If we give up on this can-do city, then there's no point in living in the city. Now, if you're part of the city and if you've seen the past of the city, you should not wallow in the history of bit of the past. No, oh, it was a garden city, it was a beautiful city, and all that. You should define the future of the city, and the future of the city should be better than the past. And then once you define the future of the city, you should work towards improving it. We're a global city. We're not even a national city. We're a global city. People come from all across the world here. Our challenge is to make it livable, to make it peaceful, comfortable, no transport mess, no traffic mess, no solid waste mess, and no water shortage. We can do it. We can do it provided we define the goal and work towards it. And that is the spirit with which you should approach this effort, not become cynical.
Sir, I've heard that your house is an architectural marvel. Please tell us. Uh, I've seen pictures, but if you could explain.
So one of the things that we believe in, Chitra Vishwanath, who's my wife and who runs Biome Solutions, she's the architect for our house, and the practice itself believes in ecological architecture. We believe that we should only preach what we practice. So when we built our house, we had the opportunity to do things which are ecological. What we did, what Chitra did, was to include a basement as part of the design, get the earth out. We made earth blocks on site, and we built our house from the mud from our site itself, right? We were able to incorporate rainwater harvesting systems. So we collect all the rainwater that falls on our house, store it, and reuse it. All my drinking and cooking water comes from rain alone. Um, we were lucky to put in place grey water treatment systems. That is, the washing machine water is recycled and reused. We have a compost toilet. It doesn't use water at all. It's a source separating toilet, and actually, it's a toilet which provides us fertilizer for the roof garden. And on the roof, we grow rice. I grow rice and millets on the roof. Where I have about 50 square meters, and I get about 40 kgs of rice. So we did not have a fan in our house for a long time. We don't paint our house. We just got a couple of table fans because we adopted a dog which had a thick fur, so we had to get a fan for the dog. And we practice a system of minimal living, which is part of the Zen philosophy, which uses less material. So it's nothing extraordinary. It's working on local materials and doing it. And what we think is that a house can be water sufficient, energy sufficient, waste sufficient, biodiversity sufficient, if it is designed appropriately. And that's what our house is.
Oh, yeah, that's really nice. Sir, you haven't thought of releasing a book with all the knowledge that you have?
No, so there's nobody who reads books these days. This is the age of Instagram and podcasts. So one thinks that with small videos and discussions, which is what people listen to, this is the way information best flows. Books are only read by authors and the relatives of the authors, nobody else.
All right. So, sir, some tips for the people.
Well, the one tip is be mindful. Be mindful of your environment. Be socially responsible. Be environmentally good. Try and do your best as an individual. And more importantly, try and work with the community to be able to raise awareness of community levels, right? So work on cleaning up your neighborhood lake, work on the park, plant trees in your neighborhood, raise conversations on solid waste management, segregate your waste, lead a disciplined life, and become an exemplar, not only for your children, but for all the children around in the surrounding areas, right? And you had raised one very important issue of how do we address children. One of the ways we do that from Biome is to work with government schools where we install a rainwater harvesting system for the school. But not only do we do that, we give them a rain gauge. So they measure rainfall every day at 8:30 a.m. And we give the school a water quality testing kit. So they're able to test the quality of water that's coming from the rain, but also from the borewells they get or from the city network they get. So they become water literate. What we need to do is to develop a water literate and environment literate society, which is contributing to the prosperity of the community and the nation. And it's all possible by each one of us making our individual efforts and keeping the spirit up and spreading optimism and good work. We do that, this will be the Sone ki Chidiya we talked about.
Yes, sir. If it's instilled in children, young children's minds, then I'm sure the future will, be a lot better.
Don't just talk to them, demonstrate.
Yes, and it should be a part of their curriculum. I believe it is, but not so much, in
Yeah.
practice.
So it's not a curriculum becomes a rote and theoretical knowledge. Practice shows what needs to be done, and when they get their hands dirty, and when they actually have videos and photographs of children actually going out in the rain and seeing the water going into a well. Now, which parent would allow their children to get wet in the monsoon? But if you don't get wet in the monsoon, how do you appreciate the joy of rain, right? So we need to do that. We need to become much more conversant with our children in terms of the lessons we teach them.
Yes, yes, very true, sir. So I want to know about your dream project. What is it you would want?
It's no dream project. The project is of creating 1 million citizens who are relevant and great contributors to society and to the nation. That's the dream project. More people replicating what we do in Biome Trust, that would be the greatest satisfaction one would have.
Yes, yes, sir. So, sir, thank you so much for coming on my show and educating us. There are so many things which we were not aware of. Thank you so much for all that.
It's my pleasure always to have a conversation.
Yeah. So you want to tell anything about my show? Um,
Podcasts are very important, and I wish you good luck in spreading messages of people and institutions working in trying to take ahead the mission of development and a developed India. So, good luck with your podcast.
oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That is very encouraging. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Thank you, dear viewers. My show, Fireflies with Anaura, is a platform for all the stars who are hiding behind the clouds. So, if you have done something special and achieved something, followed your dreams, Fireflies is the place to be. So, please come over, contact me on this number. Enjoy your monsoons. Bye for now.